Nope. This is a new film from Jordan Peele and it's following on from Get Out and Us. Get Out I was quite a big fan of. I thought it was a pretty great movie. Us, not so much. It didn't quite land for me. Nope had me very, very intrigued though, because I thought the trailers looked awesome. I thought all the promotional stuff about the movie looked awesome, and I liked what the concept of the movie was. This film is the story of a brother and sister who have a ranch, and mysteriously things start happening and they soon realise that a UFO is hiding above them and abducting living things. The idea of a modern day film tackling a UFO was very appealing to me. It seems almost like an old sort of category of movie to do, but the way it had that classic look to it, and also the fact that it hid in order to hide its presence, I thought there was something very creepy and disturbing about that thought, that something is up in the clouds and you know it's there, but it doesn't want you to see it. Now, this movie had great elements, and then it had elements that were confusing to me. The best element of this movie was the way it looked, the camera work, the cinematography, and specifically the UFO and how the camera followed it around. It felt so creepy and disturbing and daunting, the way this UFO moved, like behind the clouds and over the hills, because you can see it. Most of the time you don't actually see it, you're just seeing like the silhouette. But the way the camera moves, it makes it feel like you are recording it yourself, or it makes it feel like you are looking through someone else's eyes, or like you're actually looking at it and it's your head and your eyes moving around to try and follow this thing that's moving around the sky mysteriously. It was so well executed in that regard, and honestly just in general, like the middle section of the movie, like if you were to cut off say the first 10-15 minutes and the last 10-15 minutes, like everything between, I thought was very, very solid. I was so invested and so curious about what was going on and what was going to happen, and you really did feel the characters' emotions during these intense parts of the film. You really felt their fear, and it felt relatable in that sense. Jordan Peele is really good at creating an environment that has something unsettling about it, even if it's meant to, just be like a normal place. You can sense that something isn't right, that it's unnerving, and he does that so well. He always has in his movies. Unfortunately though, this movie had some odd and strange elements to it. For starters, the characters at times came across a little strange with their mannerisms, their reactions, and their choices. Some characters felt like they weren't shocked by what they were seeing. Other characters felt over the top when maybe they hadn't seen enough. And others made decisions that couldn't be justified based on what we'd seen, like we needed to see more to really justify why they had made a certain choice in the movie, because it felt like we didn't know enough about the character in order to really understand why they made a certain choice. For the most part, I did enjoy these characters. They are likable, and you want to like them, you want to be on their side, but they just have these moments that almost take you out, and then it just makes it feel unnatural, and then it does again make you feel like you're watching a character rather than watching a person. Another strange part of this movie that I can't really delve too much into without talking about spoilers was a subplot. There's a subplot in this movie that is intriguing, and it's almost like morbid curiosity with this subplot, but the problem with it is I don't see how it links to the main plot at all. It feels very, very unrelated, and it's annoying because, as I said, it was very interesting and intriguing, and I thought we were going to discover how it linked to the main plot by the end of the movie, but they never really touch on it. They touch on it twice, and you think there's going to be a final scene that really pieces it all together, but it just seems like it didn't really matter all that much. It was just in there because it's meant to build intrigue, but then there's no payoff. And I thought maybe I was missing something because there are mysterious elements to this subplot, and I thought, okay, I'm going to look into it because I want to know what I've missed here so that I can appreciate this movie more. But I looked into it and there's no definitive answer that I can find. Now granted, I haven't scoured every page and every YouTube video, but I've looked through a few, and they're all saying a similar thing of that it doesn't actually mean all that much, which I find disappointing and underwhelming. If you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. And my final gripe, I guess, is the ending of this movie. It felt like there was more of a story to tell here, and then it ended, so it kind of leaves you with a stupid look on your face when the credits roll. You kind of feel like, oh, That was it? Oh, okay. Like, you get quite an intense, long scene in the movie, but it's the sort of scene that feels like it should be happening like halfway through a movie or 2/3 into a movie, not the end of the movie. So, it was kind of strange when the film ended after that. It felt a little bit underwhelming, and it felt like the film could have done with another half an hour, and I would have happily watched another half an hour. I was enjoying the movie. I'm kind of gutted because I really enjoyed parts of this movie, and I thought it did some things impeccably well. But it's like it just couldn't tie everything together and make it an entirely coherent story. It's like Peele had a great concept here for both the main plot and subplot, but couldn't find a way to link it all to make it as effective as possible, whilst also including an ending that will satisfy an audience. Now, with horrors and sci-fis and a movie like this, it's very hard to nail the ending. There's very few films that do it, or do it like really, really well. You know, a lot of the time when you've got like a mysterious threat in a film like this UFO in this movie, when it comes to revealing what it is, it can always, you know, miss the target. And that's not necessarily what the issue was here, but it was just a case of, I think we needed a better ending here, and an ending that, you know, should have ended later. As I said, I think this movie needed to just be that little bit longer, just so we could explore a little bit more of this mystery. Because I don't think a lot of people are going to leave this movie satisfied based on how it ends. It's kind of a similar feeling I have to us. I wasn't really sure on the way that film ended either. I can't say I was satisfied by the end of that movie. If anything, I was a little bit disappointed. But throughout that movie and throughout this one, I see glimmers of, you know, Jordan Peele's like imagination, and the execution sometimes is really, really there, and it's very, very good, but it's just sort of actually finishing off the whole project, it seems to be the issue here. This is not a bad movie at all. It does some things really brilliantly, and I think it's great for that. However, it was also weird, and possibly doing weird for the sake of weird based on the fact that all the dots aren't connecting. I think it's a pity, but I think you should watch this movie, because I think it is worth watching, even if it's not the most satisfying conclusion, in my opinion at least. But I just think it's worth watching. I think it has some very cool and interesting elements to it. I would give Nope a 7 out of 10. Even though it has some pretty glaring issues, it's just what it does well. I think it does really well. So for that, a 7. In terms of rewatchability rating, this is something that I would rewatch if it came on late night TV, but I would also consider rewatching it when it comes out, like for streaming, or when it's put on 123 Movies. Same difference, right? You know, I feel like I kind of want to watch through this again, and maybe if I can find some more explanations before then, I might have a better time with the movie. Regardless, that's Nope. Should you watch it? Yep. Has it got problems? Yep. But is it a bad movie? Nope. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.